Leaders, multi-species leaders. I don't use a tapered leader. I use a furled leader, or what I call a shock leader, all right? You may not be able to see that, but this is a handmade twisted leader. This one is only 18 inches long, but I've made them 8 feet long. You can make them any way you want. So how do you get the effect of a tapered leader without having to pay the price of a tapered leader? What is a tapered leader? A tapered leader, I don't have an example, but it's thick on one end and it literally gradually tapers down to a fine point. So the back end of the tapered leader might be 50-pound or 60-pound test line. The front end taper may be like 6-pound test line. So it literally tapers down, and the tippet portion is the flattest portion of it, where the last 2 or 3 feet is just all 6-pound test lines. The thing is, you got to buy them. You know, every time you tie on a new fly, you clip off a little bit more leader. Sooner or later, you're going to get into that leader portion. You're chopping off a leader, and so you're going to have to add more tippet, which is straight mono. That's why they call it tippet. It tips the leader. The reason you want that tapered leader is so if you're casting a lot, that line will turn over, because if it doesn't turn over, it'll just flop down, and it won't turn over and get that nice beautiful lay down, that nice gentle lay down, right? That's not so much a problem if you're fishing. I know a lot of guys, they will just take 4 feet of straight monofilament line and use as a leader. The problem is, if you do cast it, all it does is hinge instead of roll over, right? You want it to roll over, not hinge. And so having a leader as short as this 18 inches can actually do that. Another reason is, when I was doing hand lines, I took a year and did nothing but hand line fishing. Oh, almost took a drink. There's 2 ways to stow your lines. Well, with this, it's very simple. You just wrap everything back up and then just put your hook here, and you're ready to run. I'm going to run back up to the old dam and drift back down to this spot again, because I wanted to show, I wanted to learn how to truly play the fish. What catches the fish? It's the lure, it's the bait, it's the scent, and it's the hook and the line. That's what catches the fish. Everything else is just extra. When you have a rod, that rod is absorbing some of the shock. So how do I add shock absorbing with the line only? And I found out that fly fishermen often tie their own furled leaders. Now, I started using these leaders as shock leaders for my hand lines, and they work just as well, and they would work just as well in catfishing leaders as well. But that's why I use it, because what you're doing is you're going to take a length of monofilament. This is 12-pound test monofilament. Okay, this is going to be about 6 feet long. Don't have my knife with me. Okay, you need to stretch it. Stretch that leader out. Stretch it out. Just stretch it out till you feel that mono stretch. It'll stretch. It's best to do this with monofilament, because the whole point is to have a shock leader. What we're going to do is take this 6 feet of monofilament line and cram it down into a leader that's about 18 inches long. All right, now once you've stretched it out, you're going to take it, put the 2 looped ends sort of together like that, and come at right here at the halfway point, right? Make a little loop. Put your thumb and your forefinger together and then twist it both in the same direction. And then once you have those lines separated and that twist started, okay, you are going to get your forefinger and thumb and separate both tag ends like this. It would be easier if I had like some 50-pound test high visibility line, and you're just gonna simply start twisting it like this. I'm not pulling it, I'm just simply twisting it, and twisting it, the twisting action is pulling it through, right? And so you're just gonna sit there and do that for the whole length of line. And generally, I forget what the ratio is, but you can figure it out yourself. 6 feet of line usually produces about 1.5 feet worth of leader. You know, if you're really wanting like a longer leader or something like 4 and 5 foot, you know, you just imagine 6, 12, 18, 20, you know, you have to have 24 feet of line to get about a 4 foot leader or something like that. And then you can add your tippet on top of that, whatever you want. And if you have like a long 20-foot section of line, I'll get out here and just walk around the yard. The thing is, once I make one of these leaders, it'll last most of the season. The leader won't, you know, because the leader is stronger than the tippet. So I'll just sit here and make 2 or 3 of these at the beginning of the season and probably won't even change them. Now we're at the end. That hole's twisted together. See, now we got half the length. Now you're gonna put that together. This is the double end and this is the single end. Okay, this is going to be your terminal end that goes to your tippet, or you could actually put a hook directly on it if you really wanted. For catfish, it'd be pretty neat to do that. So you're going to take that, put it in half, and go to half again. So about halfway down, or a little bit less than halfway down. About a quarter of the way down, you're going to do the same thing. Both hands and thumbs together, twist them both in the same direction to get it started. Turn it, split it. Once it does, it'll sometimes want to, yeah, just start twisting again. And this part usually goes way faster because it's like the gearing is a lot faster. Okay. And then once you get to that end, you just tie off a knot. I tie a figure 8 knot here. If you don't know how to tie a figure 8 knot, animated knots is the way to go. Okay, figure 8. Wet it. Pull it tight. Get the tag ends out and pull it 3 ways tight. Okay, now my friends, you have a tapered leader. This is 12 pound test line doubled over here, right? And then that's coming down to the single loop of 12 pound test line. If you're just catfishing, you could actually just use that as a leader, and it's a nice strong leader. Instead of having to always use 50 pound test line, you can do that. But what I do here is I just make another loop in an 8 pound or 6 pound, 8 pound test line and make my tippet as long as I want, right? And that's a great sinking fly line leader there, just 18-inch leader, and make the tippet about 4 feet long, and you got some, what that does is you now have that 6 feet of fly line crammed down to the 18 inches, and you have the benefit of the stretch of mono that's crammed down in there. All you need is straight monofilament, cheap straight monofilament. I'm using Berkley Big Game here. This whole spool will rot out before I actually use it all to make my leaders. And if you are going for trophy catfish, you could use, a 20 pound test line doubled over. Man, golly, you got a lot of leader. That's a lot of leader. This goes to my fly line via loop to loop connection here. As you can see, that's loop to loop connection. And then you have a loop to loop connection on the end here that goes to the tippet eventually. But you can just sit down one Saturday morning, tie up 2 or 3 of these, maybe different sizes. Maybe get you an 18-inch leader, then get you a 3-foot leader, then get you a 6-foot leader. And then you'll just really never need anything longer than that, really. You see how limp that is? By the way, the tag end, you just cut that off, the 2 tag ends. And it doesn't go anywhere. I've never had this fail, because it's gonna fail, the lighter line on the tippet will fail, and the leader just never fails, right? And it's very limp. It will turn that line over. It's almost like having a silk leader or horsehair leader or something that they used back in the old days. Go do that. See ya.